Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Congratulations to all the Palantir bulls out there, as PLTR had closed over $40 on Friday's trading session. These are at all-time highs. Great to see there. Major accomplishments. We're going to be talking about a veteran analyst that predicted PLTR when it was under 10 bucks to hit 36 and over. They're coming out with a new price target. We're going to be talking about this, talking about what is PLTR going to do from here? Because now sitting at these all-time highs, what's the risk for potential downsides? Is there going to be a resistance at this 40 since it's kind of at this all-time high level, or is this going to enter into more of a price discovery zone where you're going to see FOMO from the retail institutional side of things and people wondering how high can this go? A big variable I think is going to be the general market, how that's going to operate, especially in October. There's some uncertainty there. We're seeing some analysts coming out, Tom Lee talking about, we've seen with surprise October. We'll be talking about what that means. If you're a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, not a financial advisor, collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Pop it up here, Palantir, closing at $40.01, with a market cap correlated at $89 billion, $62 million on the trading volume for this session. Now, PLTR, if we do see any downside risk, which could be happening, if there's any type of profit-taking cascade, there's a lot of strong support in the 30s, and that's why I am personally not scared about where PLTR is going here in the near future. And also things that are happening in the markets. On Friday, we had a very, very, very bullish jobs report, which is continuing to really drive home the soft landing goal from the Fed. That is looking more and more to actually become reality and not just what a talk or, actually removing some uncertainty from what that soft landing was going to be. Now, talking about this analyst that came out here, but we've seen at PLTR, of course, gaining lots of traction. It's one of the most trendy stocks right now. Alex Karp's doing a great job. We've seen the expansion, multiple collaborations, contracts, partnerships from both the commercial and the governmental side of things. Analysts have been bullish on PLTR. There's also been some that have been bearish, saying, hey, with the valuation, that's a big piece. We shouldn't ignore that. We'll be talking about that in a few moments here. Recently, September 26th, we've talked about before, Dan Ives, he's always been bullish on PLTR, raised his price targets to 45 from 38, keeping an outperform rating on those shares. Now, this trader that we're going to be talking about here is utilizing the earnings that's going to be coming up with earnings report, and also Palantir's prime spot right now to continuing to expand its pipeline and deal flow while providing more use cases is a really bullish driver behind Palantir's growth. Now, on October 3rd here, they came out and said that this trader particularly made it a top pick when it was below 10 bucks a share, putting a price target at 36 bucks, which probably seemed nuts at the time, but look at where the price is now. Coming in here, they raised a new price target to $48 on Palantir this week. And one of the main drivers, like I mentioned before, is that the company is expected to report third quarter results in November, and analysts are looking at about adjusted earnings of 9 cents per share with revenue about $703 million. Now, if the cookie crumbles correctly, those numbers would be good for earnings growth and revenue growth of 29 and 26% respectively. One other big thing is, of the 11 sell-side analysts that they've seen, all 11 have actually raised their estimates since the start of the third quarter. So even those that are taking a bearish prediction or a bearish outlook on PLTR in terms of these selling side analysts, the whole baseline for expectations is being raised. So Palantir is really getting into that next zone. However, one of the big things that we do have is what's the risk for potential downside? Talking about possibly profit taking here, what would happen there? And that is just because of the potential downside risk for PLTR right now in the markets that are trading at a high premium. However, we do have an AI boom that is showing no signs of slowing down, and we're seeing that happening before our eyes. That this momentum, throwing valuation out the window right now, that's basically what's happening, is that the momentum, the AI demand, what we're seeing in the boom and the rally in the market is continuing to be bullish, is helping PLTR get to these higher highs. And specifically looking into the market, what we saw, remember, on Friday was a very, very strong jobs report that gave more support to the idea that the Federal Reserve may pull off this soft landing. That's what the big expectation is. Now, what we've also seen on top of that is interest rates that have been cut, of course, and we're expecting at least 2 more 25 basis point cuts, which is typically bullish for the market, and we're seeing a lot of resilience on actually what's happening within the economy. Now, there's key releases this week ahead, including the Federal Reserve meeting minutes on Wednesday and the CPI data, which further gives us more information on what's happening with inflation that will be released on Thursday. One thing about PLTR, on the bullish perspective, a lot of people are still calling this an AI powerhouse that is still worth buying. And talking about here that Palantir's valuation is justified by these strong financial results. Now, we do know it's traded, at a very high valuation. But however, looking at some of the moving analysis and chart analysis right here, really highlighting the support in the mid 30s zone. We do have a lot of support there for PLTR. You can see here right at the 36, a decent amount of consolidation there. And this is when all the insiders were selling. Another bullish thing is that all those insiders, and basically Peter has confirmed or came out with a report that we saw that fulfilled the execution of all of the shares that he was planning to in that report. He had until December of next year to actually complete the selling of all those shares, and that's already been done. I talked about this philosophy before, but this is basically like the closing of a book, of the chapter, and opening them up to the next thing. So what's the next thing for PLTR? That's not something that people have to worry about in the background, all these shares being offloaded by some of the insiders, and that also brings a lot of uncertainty just in terms of that event itself. You also see PLTR, if there's even more of a pullback, we see any big changes in volatility in the market, lots of support at the 33. So great to see here. I think at the 40, if we see consolidation here, this could gear Palantir up. Possibly if bullishness continues in the market, I could agree that seeing this $48 price target could be on the table. However, if we see any big kind of fluctuations in the market, the risk for downside potential is pretty great, I would say, especially at these all-time highs, because people don't know where it's going to go from here. You could see a little bit of a pullback, but strong support zones to hold on to. And that's where you come up here at the next quarter earnings. That's going to be the next big thing for Palantir. We're going to start talking about it more and more often, and that is because we're less than a month away now, ladies and gentlemen. Time does go quick with these quarter earnings reports, and there's going to be a lot of trading that's based off of that. And I agree with that article, if the cookie crumbles right, if the market still continues to grow in terms of momentum, if we don't see this kind of reduction in prices that we've historically seen in October. Everybody talked about those historical changes and red days in September, and we didn't have a red month of September for the broader market. That was a very bullish one due to the fact that that's where we got the first interest rate cut. So upcoming quarter earnings is going to be the highlight of Palantir coming up here. What do you guys think? Down in the comments, I want to know going into this week. Do we see Palantir that will continue to rise in price, or do you think we're going to see a little bit of a pullback, trying to find more of its grounding? Only time will tell. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, take care, and here's to a good kickoff to the week.